Hello guys, welcome to this lecture. In this lesson, we're going to look at how styling our React components. So in the last lesson, we have a deep dive to what React component is, and we created for our first React component. However, in this lesson, we're going to look at how to style our React component. We want to create this interface using React, right? So in the last lesson, we created our first component, which is just our navbar component, just like this. We're able to write the text which is secure or else in your PMI, which is what we have here. However, we want to style this component to look exactly just like this. So in the last class, we created a component, a navbar component, and then what we do in this class is to use our CSS to actually style this component, right? So let's return back to our slide. So there are three ways to style in React, right? The first one is called an inline styling. So every JSS element has a style property. So you can add to its opening tag, right? Just like your conventional HTML attributes, style attribute. So your JSS element in React has this style property, which helps you style your elements. Yeah. So this means you can add inline styling to JSS and React component like a traditional HTML. So you basically create an object of style. So you create an object that has all your style. You then render it inside the component in styled attribute using React technique to incorporate JavaScript variable inside the JSS. So we all know from that whenever you want to incorporate JavaScript in your JSS, you use your curly braces, right? So in inline styling in React, you actually will create your style using the JavaScript object, and then incorporate that style in the style property of your JSS, right? So since the inline and CSS is written in JavaScript object, what it means is that CSS properties that has two words, just like barrel color, will be written using a camel case. We can see an example. This is our h1 tag. And this h1 tag, to use an inline property in it, to style it using inline styling, you use what the style property. And then the first braces shows that you want to incorporate JavaScript into this JSS. And the second braces is a JavaScript object that contains all the style you want to use. And then you can see padding is 3 rem. Now this margin top has two words. And so because this is a JavaScript object, you write it using a camel case. So this kind of styling is what we call inline styling. Now the second type of styling we have, it is CSS style sheet. In this approach, you create a CSS file, define your style in it, and then import the style sheet to your React component. So the style sheet is ported using the import keyword and then specify the relative path to the style sheet. So you can see an example. So in this case, we're importing our style sheet from what? From our CSS, right? So the third approach to actually style and creating your CSS in React is the CSS modules. So CSS modules offers a powerful solution for writing component-specific style in React. It lets you scope style to individual component, thereby letting you avoid naming conflict and simplifying style maintenance. So to use CSS modules, you create a file with .module.css as the extension. For example, style.module.css. So you then need to import the file into your component with the import keyword and a name you want. For example, style or class. So you choose any, followed by the native part of the CSS module. So we're going to look at we're going to demonstrate these three ways of styling our React component, and see how to use it, right? Okay. Okay, so we have our navbar component. Let's look at the first method of styling component, which is the inline styler. So you see, we created our navbar, all our components. We are creating our component in our component folder, right? So we have the navbar component. Currently, this component is not styled. So to use an inline styler, all we need that in the elements where we want to style, we use the style attributes, right? And so this style attribute, we introduce the curly braces. This curly braces in React is used to inject JavaScript into our JSS. So because what we want to use is styling our element is a JavaScript object. So we need to actually use curly braces to actually inject this JavaScript object into our JSS. That's a norm, right? So to style our property, use a JavaScript object. So that's what the second braces stand for. Now, so you can now style, but for example, to give this a color of, let's say, black. Black is ash, right? Sorry, ash 000, right? Now, you for style properties that has two words, since we are using JavaScript object to create our style, you will use a camel case. For example, background color. So this is background, right? Color. So use a camel case, right? So let's say we want to give our background color also to be, let's say, 0F0. So if I go back to our page, you can see it has it. So this method of styling is what we call the inline styling. Now, some other persons may decide to write this JavaScript object separately, right? So our style is written separately in a JavaScript object. So I'm going to name that object. I'm going to name it, for example, styles. So this is a JavaScript object, right? And this is what the object contains, right? So JavaScript object style. Sorry. Okay. So this is a JavaScript object style. So it's written differently. So I can now insert the style, the JavaScript here, this script. So this will give us the same result, right? Okay. If I go back to our page, we're having the same result. Now we can actually, if we have more elements to style in less time, I can create each of them in different objects. For example, this object is for our nav bar, right? So I can set a limit nav bar, and then this is an object, right? So if I have other elements I want to style here in our list, in our JSS, for example, let's see second objects, second style. I also want to style the H2, right? Let me give this a class name of, let's say, second. So I can have more style. I can have more style property written in different objects. So navbar style is targeted for that of each one. I can set to target that of, let's say, I'll call it second. So this is second property in this styles object. And then this, right? Okay. So let's see font size. Of course, we use a camel case, right? Okay, let's see font size. I'll make it, let's say, 14 pixel. So that means in my style property here, here I'm going to use styles dot what second, while this my H1 property is styles dot what is styles dot nav what. So see, this method of styling is what we call the inline styling, right? So if I let's see to see Okay. Okay, so we have second style to symbol. Okay, so this method of styling is called inline styling. So the second form of styling is our style sheet. In style sheet, using style sheet, in style sheet method of styling, we write our style in a different file and then using import to import it to our component. So let us look at the second method, which is the style sheet. Using style sheet. So I'll create our style and call it navbar, for example, .css, right? So sorry, this is not, I have to shift it here. Okay, so instead of writing all these styles here, so let's remove all this. Right? I'm going to delete this also. So we're looking at the second method of styling, which is the style sheet, right? So I want to style our H1. So our H1 has a class name of, let's say, navbar title. Just like the conventional way of styling using the style sheet in our vanilla vanilla method of creating web pages. So all you need to do is to come to your CSS and what? This is a class component, so you use dot, right? And then what? Let's say font size. Okay, so this is not like our JavaScript object where we use a camel key. So use your normal CSS syntax. So I'm going to give this 16 pixel, and let's see color hash F00, that's red. Right, so if I go back here, okay, so when we have done this, now to apply this particular style sheet to our component, we come back to our component and then we import it, right? You'll see import, and then we define the path to our CSS. In my case, it's navbar.what CSS, and so all the CSS style here will be applied to this component. If I go back to it, you can see it is red. So this method of styling is what we call the CSS style sheet. Now, the last method of styling is the CSS module. So in this type of styling, what we do is this type of styling uses the module.css extension. So I'm going to create another file called the module navbar, right? .module.css. You can see this is the third method of styling. The extension was the module.css. So this type of styling is called the CSS module style, right? So so that's it. Now so let's create a style. Let me say dot what success, right? Let's see dot success. This is a class selector dot success. So I'm going to give it, let's see, font size of, let's see, 20 pixel. Background color, I'll give it a green, so that will be 0F0, right? And then color of red, which is F00, right? Okay, so to apply this module style to our component, all we do is to import. Let's import that particular CSS module first. Now, the way you import this is different from the CSS style. This CSS style of importing. So I'll give it a name. If I call it any name, I'm going to import it as style. For example, you can give it your own name. I'm importing it from, and then let's look at so this we are importing it from module. Now, don't forget, in our module.css, we define this class selector, which is success. So all I need to do is that instead of writing this particular class name, right, because I'm passing the JavaScript, so I have to use the curly braces. So I'm going to style, and then the name, the class selector, which is what, in our case, is what, success, right? Okay, so I'm going to use class dot what, success. Right? Now, this is it. So this type of styling is called the CSS module. Okay, so just to re-echo what all we have learned in this lesson we looked at a various method or ways of styling as React component. The first one is the inline styling, where you use the style attributes in the targeted elements to style. Second one is the CSS style sheet, where you create a separate style sheet, a CSS style sheet for your component. And then to apply that style sheet to your component, what you do is to import it, just like we have seen in line 1. The third method is the module, CSS module. So they said you create a file for your CSS, and the file must have an extension module.css, and then style your component. So to actually use that particular style in your React component, you're going to import it. The way you import it is different from that of the CSS style sheet. And then in the class theme for that particular object, for that particular element you want to style, all you need to do is to call that selector, right? And so the CSS in our case for this will now be applied to that particular element area, right? So in our next lesson, we're now going to properly work on this our style, this our component, which is our navbar component, to look similar to what we have here, right? Right, thank you.